Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to my channel, to my wonderland, and to our coffee times together. And today I'm here to talk to you about all the things that I watched in the month of August.
It's coffee time.
So in August I had 2 weeks of holidays and I went to Spain to visit my parents. And you would think that when you are on holidays you have a lot of free time to watch many things, but that was not really the case. I spent a lot of time, hanging out with my parents, going to the beach. We always play card games together. I went to visit some of my girlfriends and we went out a lot. And so I didn't have as much time as I wanted to watch things, but I did binge watch a couple of series, documentaries, and I did get to see some movies. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit about everything that I watched and a little bit my thoughts on it. So let's start. First, let's start with the TV shows or Netflix series that I have watched. And the first one is No Goodnik Part 2. Now this is something that I would normally not watch, but Sean Astin and Melissa Joan Hart are in the series and I really like these both actors, so I decided to give it a try. It is an American comedy for more like teenagers and young adults. The first part was released in April 2019 and Netflix already gave us the second part in August 2019, and I binge watched both of them because they are like 10 episodes per season and the episodes are around 20 to 30 minutes, so it's very easy to binge watch. And you would like it if you normally like Nickelodeon shows, but this one is more kind of in the adult side and it does portray things like drugs and abuse and abandonment and parents that are in jail and things like that. So it kind of deals with heavier topics, so the drama is a little bit different and they don't focus so much on the typical teenager shows about just playing pranks and falling in love. It is a little bit more mature in that sense. We're following the story of a 13-year-old that is called Nick, and she goes one day and knocks on the Thompsons' door and she says she's a relative from them that lost her parents and she needs to stay and live with them, and this is all part of a scam. She's trying to rob them and get money to help her dad who is in jail, and so this is how everything starts. And like I said, it kind of touches a little bit of the typical teenager topics, but it also has to do with other heavier issues, so it's easy to binge watch. It's nothing too special, but if you're looking for a show that you can just watch while you do other things around the house, or if you like me really love Melissa Joan Hart and Sean Astin, then maybe you want to give it a go. Then I binge watched the miniseries Quicksand, and it has a total of 6 episodes, and this is a Netflix exclusive, and it is a Swedish drama that is basically based on a book. It is not based on real events, but the author did want to kind of portray the differences between classes and how this affects the students. And it is basically about a class shooting, and at the very beginning of the miniseries we see the shooting happening and somebody being arrested, and the person that they arrest is our main character for the story, and she's being blamed for the murder and for conspiracy, and we kind of see the story with flashbacks of her life and we kind of understand what happened, who did what, who shot who, and we end up in a trial and everything. And I wanted to watch it because I thought it was a topic I was really interested in and I really ended up enjoying it. I really appreciated how raw the characters were and how real it felt and how it portrayed a reality that some people try to avoid or pretend it's not there. And so I really enjoyed it, and it's only 6 episodes, so if you're looking for something to binge watch and you kind of like these topics, this miniseries, it's actually pretty good. Then I watched Ellie season 1 with a total of 8 episodes. Now this is a series that I had on my list on Netflix of things I wanted to watch. It is a Spanish teenage drama exclusive to Netflix, and this was pitched to me as the Spanish response to 13 Reasons Why, and I was intrigued, so I decided to give it a try, and I ended up super hooked and super invested in the whole thing, a lot more than I thought. I thought at the beginning it was going to be a little bit more like the typical teenager dramas, because it's based on 3 students that come from a poor families, and because their school was destroyed, they need to go to this high-end school for rich people, and so it's a little bit between the rich kids and the poor kids, and the difference of class as well. So I thought it was going to be a lot of drama about that, but there is so many things going on, there are so many things, and it ended up being super interesting. There is a mystery, there is a murder, and it ended up being really cool. And I see now why they said it's kind of related to 13 Reasons Why, and it already has a 2nd season coming on the 6th of September that I'm super excited about. By the time this video goes up, it's going to be just 1 day waiting for that season. I'm gonna binge watch that as well. And as far as I understand, during the premiere of the 2nd season, they already confirmed there's going to be a season 3, so I'm super excited. So if you're looking for something similar to 13 Reasons Why, but a little bit different, because this one is obviously a Spanish series, I watched it in Spanish, and I always think that these European movies and series have a different tone to them if you compare them to the typical Hollywood or American ones, and I really enjoyed it. It has to do with a lot of things, you know, drugs and abuse and a lot of things, so disclaimer for a lot of stuff. But yeah, if you're looking for something similar to 13 Reasons Why, this might be something for you. Now I would like to talk about some documentaries that I watched on Netflix, and let's just say that if the police or FBI or somebody would kind of check what I watched on the month of August on Netflix, I would basically be right now being interviewed by the police and they would ask me what's going on in my life because I've watched a lot of stuff about serial killers, murders, killer women. I don't know, I was on a roll. Like, I had all of these different documentaries and miniseries about killers on my list, and I always thought, oh yeah, one day I need to start watching these things. And I started watching one, and I just binge watched a bunch of them, and I was living for it. So let's start talking about them. First, we have Inside the Criminal Mind, and this is a 4-part documentary, and each part focuses in a different type of crime. We have serial killers, we have mafia, we have cults, in which they included obviously Manson, and the other one is kidnapping, and I loved all of them. The one that was least interesting for me was the one about the mafia. I'm not somebody that is so much into that, but still very interesting, and it's a quick insight in all of these 4 different topics. Now, every part is only around 40 to 50 minutes, so there's so much that they can tell you, but it was interesting to hear about some cases, and some they're trying to tell you what makes a serial killer a serial killer. If there's something in the brain or something that we can kind of predict, it's going to make that person become a serial killer. So interesting, but I wish they would have, you know, made like different episodes for each topic, so we would have had more information. Then I watched Killer Women, and they were interviewed by Piers Morgan, whom I despise, but I decided to still give it a shot because I really was interested in hearing their stories. Season 1 has only 2 episodes and season 2 has 5, so I watched both of them because they were short seasons, and it's basically they're telling you the story of these women that have committed murder and they're in jail because of it. Some of them still plead innocent, and I really enjoyed watching their stories and hearing them talk about it. I did not like the attitude of Piers Morgan. I just do not like him at all, and I think this is one of the things that I just didn't like about the series, that he was the one interviewing. I think he has a very nasty attitude. But if you, like me, love true crime and like to see these kind of stories and interviews, you might want to give this one a try. Then we have I Am a Killer, another Netflix documentary, and this has 10 episodes, and it's basically 10 stories of 10 people that are currently in jail, and most of them, I don't know if all of them, but most of them were on the death row, and they were telling you their story and why they ended up in jail. Some of them accept what they did, others still claim that, you know, they're innocent. But yeah, super interesting. I really liked this one because it had all different types of crimes and stories, and some stories were really heartbreaking because some of those people ended up there just because they were hanging out with a wrong crowd, and you kind of felt for them in a way as well. So I really did enjoy this Netflix series. Then we have Serial Killer season 1, and only 3 episodes in Netflix here so far, but again interviewed by Piers Morgan, whom I just, can you tell that I hate this guy? Because I do a lot, and he has such an attitude when he's talking to the criminals that they get upset, and I understand because I would punch him myself. And it's basically 3 different stories. He meets with 3 different serial killers that have been you know, accused of multiple crimes, and one of the stories was really heartbreaking because it included little girls, and that was really hard to listen to. Then he meets with the inmates, but he also meets with the family, and they try to tell you a little bit, you know, of what happened back then. And very interesting. The 3 stories were very interesting. So my only complaint or petition would be that maybe you send somebody else to interview these people. It does not have to be Piers Morgan, and nobody likes him. As for movies, I have a very mixed variety, so let's start with the ones that are not horror, which are the ones I like the least, and let's end up with the ones I like the most, which are the horror ones. So first of all, I watched Pitch Perfect. Don't ask me why this happened, but one day I was scrolling through Netflix and I was in the mood for something where I didn't have to think, and if I would pass out, it would be okay. So I turned this one on, and I put this one, and it's a 2012 American movie about basically a university where there are these singing clubs, and you can join them and enter competitions. So it's a little bit like Glee, but there's different like singing clubs inside the same university. And I thought it was gonna be all the time just about singing, which I don't particularly like. So I was surprised that actually the backstory of Becca, the character by Anna Kendrick, was really cool, and I really liked her as a character, and it was really well developed. So I ended up liking it more than I thought. So I might actually give Pitch Perfect 2 a watch, but it's not on Netflix right now, so I will just wait because I'm not interested in purchasing the movies. But you know, I've avoided watching this movie for years, and now that I watched it, it was not that bad. Then I watched 16 Candles from 1984, an American coming-of-age story, and don't ask me why, but I've never watched this movie. I've watched so many movies from the 80s, but not this one. And again, I was scrolling through Netflix and I'm like, this has been on my list in Netflix for so long, I might just give it a watch and get over with it. And I have to say it was okay, but I was a little bit disappointed. I guess after all of these years, all this hype had built up in my head of 16 Candles, 16 Candles, because it's like this iconic movie from the 80s, but I just thought it was okay. I thought there's better 80s comedies or love comedies than this one. It is all in all an entertaining movie, but it is full of stereotypes and it is predictable. We're following the story of a teenage girl that is turning 16, and on the day of her birthday, her whole family forgets her birthday because they're too busy planning her older sister's wedding, and she's getting married in the next weekend, and so everybody is like all super busy about that, so they forget her birthday. And then she goes to a dance, and then she cannot be with the guy that she likes because he has another girlfriend, and so it's very kind of stereotypical, but I did enjoy it for a watch. But for me, it's not this kind of cult 80s movies that I would rewatch all the time. Then I decided to give a try to Otherhood, 2019 Netflix exclusive comedy, because I'm trying to watch most of the Netflix exclusive releases, at least the movies, because there are so many series that I don't know if I can catch up. In this movie, we have 3 mothers that they've known each other their whole lives because their kids also were raised together, and they meet on Mother's Day and they realize how they're lacking some appreciation and love from their sons. and they decide to go to where they live in the big city and just pop there, stay with them for some days, and you know, make them appreciate their mothers again. And it turns into kind of like a wild trip for them, and a lot of things happen. It's a cute comedy, but again, something not really too rememberable, and that is only good for one watch. Another Netflix exclusive that I watched that came out this year is Secret Obsession, and this is a thriller. So I watched the trailer and I'm like, cool, you know, sounds like something that's been done before, but let's give it a try. So at the beginning of the movie, we have a woman and she's fleeing, she's running away from somebody that's attacking her, whose face we do not see, and while she's running away, she gets hit by a car. So unluckily that she ends up in the hospital and she has memory loss. And so after she checks into the hospital and she goes through surgery, she doesn't know who she is. So Russell, her husband, comes to the hospital to pick her up and to talk to her, and she doesn't remember him, so he starts to tell her more about herself, that she lost her parents and that they recently married, that she lives now with him, and she left her job to move in with him, and so he takes her home, and everything starts to be a little bit fishy, and you don't trust this guy anymore that pretends to be Russell, her husband. Is he really her husband? Is he not? And we also have the typical character of the police officer that will not let go of this case, that knows there's something else there, that goes above and beyond to you know, investigate and see what's the real truth about this woman and what happened to her. And yeah, so I had not high expectations, but I kind of expected it to be a little bit better than it was. It was not just predictable, because basically when you watch the trailer, you know what's happening and you basically know the whole movie, which is a problem with trailers nowadays. But also on the other hand, it was kind of boring. Like the beginning was okay, and then at some point it just got boring. I was not really paying that much attention to the movie anymore. So yeah, maybe this one I would not recommend. Then while I was in Spain, I went to the cinema, which I have not been in forever, and I watched Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and this is based in some children's books with cute little stories, cute little horror stories. And I had previously read the books before going to watch the movie, and I had high expectations just because Guillermo del Toro is one of the producers, which, you know, doesn't give him much leverage in the movie, but you know, that was my hope. And I saw a video of him where he was approving the different design of the characters and the creatures and the actors that they hired to portray these creatures that we see in the movie. They are fantastic. And so I enjoyed it. It's kind of like Goosebumps, or kind of this kind of thrills like Nightmares and stuff like that. And sadly, I believe it's PG-13, so there was not blood or anything too gory in the movie, which is something I would have appreciated. It was kept a little bit more like on the low side when it comes to the gore, but the characters were really well done. The creepy characters, and I think they made a good job keeping the movie kind of creepy and eerie. It's based on a couple of teenagers that on a Halloween night end up going to this house that is supposed to be haunted because of somebody that used to live there, and they find this book, and the girl decides to take it home without telling anybody, and she starts reading the book and starts realizing that the stories that are being written in the book are coming true. So they try to stop the book because these stories are basically killing them one by one. And then we have my favorite thing that I watched in the month of August, and that is the movie The Voices, and this is a black comedy horror from 2014 that I had on my list to watch since forever, and I finally did, and I'm so happy. And the cast includes people like Ryan Reynolds and Anna Kendrick, and I love this movie so much. I loved it. It's become one of my new favorites. If there's any horror comedy that I love, it's this kind of comedy. And I don't want to tell you too much about it because I think it spoils the movie. Actually, I watched the movie after years of not, you know, watching trailers or anything about it, and I think that's the way to go. I think if you watch the trailer, you get a little bit spoiled already of what's to come. But I absolutely loved it. It is about this guy that has a personality disorder, and he has a cat and a dog, and they're kind of his subconscious, and the dog is like the good guy and always telling him to do the right thing, and the cat is like the evil one, obviously, with the cutest accent ever, and is telling him to be bad and to do bad things. And yeah, so we're just following him in his life and how he's dealing with the voices in his head. And I love it. I don't want to tell you anything else about it because then I'm gonna spoil it for you. But if you love horror comedies or black humor, definitely want to check, and I just loved it so much. So this would be my favorite thing that I watched in the month of August. Let me know down below which is the favorite thing that you watched in the month of August. So this was everything that I managed to watch in August. Let me know down below what you thought about the things that I have watched. Do you have also any recommendations based on the things that I have watched and that I liked? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I really appreciate a lot your support. Please give the video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and also please remember to subscribe if you are not a subscriber yet, so you don't miss any more coffee times with me. And also remember to click on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos every time I upload. And if you have Twitter, Instagram or Facebook, feel free also to follow me there. The links to my social media channels can be found in the description box down below, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!